Oh my god. I did not realize that I had a 1 year anniversary on a public comment to the Federal Reserve. Go figure. Today. Oh my god. And I already know that the people who, did what they did had a lot riding on sitting on it. Like when you steal something or you heist something, you got to sit on it for a while and you don't get to sell it until you sat on it for a while and like all the heat blows over, right? Rules regarding availability of information. Oh my god, this one is so great too. Oh my god. Okay, let me read it as quick as I can. It's not that long. Does the Federal Reserve assign securities to people's ID documents and then loan them out overnight for repo jobs by other persons, without disclosing to whom a person's identity is being loaned? Does the Federal Reserve actively engage in theft of people's personal and tangible property and then refuse to investigate allegations that a person's identity documents or other identifying information has been acquired by others illegally and then used by others without disclosure? Does the Federal Reserve have any inventory on loaned out securities connected to people's identity documents? I noticed that my comment in this area was discontinued. Is that because you are literally loaning out securities connected to my identity to other people who are using your loans to sabotage my investigative efforts, which include reports on precipitating events to acts of terrorism? You should know that obstruction of my reporting efforts and subsequent retaliation is directly responsible for the proliferation of both domestic and international acts of terrorism. Do you loan out to cover up for financing of acts of terrorism via banks that are headquartered in the United States? Do you engage their risk penalties and the fees associated with the terms of your overnight loans? How about for securities that are connected to long-term bond issues that obligate people to decades worth of debt service, including in jurisdictions they have never even lived? Do you understand that requiring someone to work or perform services without their consent and without compensation is legally trafficking a person? How many times have you permitted someone or some entity that should have been responding to reports that I submitted to appropriate law enforcement or regulatory bodies to use securities connected to my reports to engage in crimes rather than respond and assist me with my investigation? Do you loan out my securities to members of Congress? How about political candidates for office up to and including the President of the United States? Wouldn't that be considered election interference? Do you loan these securities out to members of foreign political office? How about its coverage for the 10% on military aid that is reimbursed by the United States to certain countries with which the U.S. has an active treaty, including countries that are currently being sanctioned? Would that not qualify as a form of espionage? I absolutely refuse to consent to any overnight use of any security connected to my identity information or reports submitted to document criminal activity. The President and Congress are not permitted to continuously traffic citizens of the U.S. or others in violation of rights to due process or habeas corpus, especially if doing so poses a national security risk engaged as a form of political retaliation. Please see to it that you don't pull this comment or intentionally downgrade as a further perpetuation of political retaliation. I've already formally requested how to get information on the use of any securities connected to my identity or theft of numerous identity documents. Please see to it that you respond in a formal and legal manner immediately. Don't flip this account tomorrow, and do not change any current account assignments until this is addressed formally and legally. This was submitted on August 7th, 2019. Tomorrow would be 1 year after I submitted this. Who thinks that they're going to hook up a bunch of shit today so that when this clears tomorrow, what happens? You know the great thing about this comment? Rules regarding availability of information. There's another comment that was on the Federal Register. It's assigned, it's part of a list of public comments for the federal departments. It had to do with 6 years, keeping securities for 6 years. And that one was submitted before this one. And I did not know until sometime after that the Federal Reserve had published it in the Federal Register as it's legally required to do. And they said only one comment had been submitted, but that comment was not relevant. It was the second time that I've seen so far that the Federal Reserve has made a point to say my comment was irrelevant. And you know the ironic thing is how many goddamn sons of bitches last autumn and beginning of this year wanted to talk about anti-money laundering and how important anti-money laundering is. Right. Okay.